So like we said earlier, we're going to talk about AstraZeneca and their vaccine for coronavirus. But first, let's start with a tweet, whatever it's called on Twitter, from a gentleman named Patrick Hennison. He's assigned to a news station, 21 Wired. He's got a check mark. He's a verified user. But he poses this question. So any intelligent person with an IQ north of 70 should be asking, what is the point of pushing a mass vaccination effort for something which doesn't prevent the said disease and is less effective than our natural immune system? We have approximately 99.97% survival rate. He goes on to say, according to their own documentation, the miracle COVID vaccine does not provide any immunity to the virus/disease, which vaccines are meant to do. So if that is indeed the case, then they can only rightfully call it a therapeutic then. No, this is a mass marketing campaign. And finally, the last and most painful question for the snake oil voodoo peddlers at Big Pharma Inc. How do they know it's their vaccine doing it rather than the immune system? As I say, you have to remove the natural immune system response to prove much of what is being claimed. So let's think about that for a second. If the survival rate of this virus is 99.97, sometimes even higher in different age demographics, and then they have vaccines that are allegedly some 70% effective, some 94, some 95, some 90, but none of them are 99.97. What's the point? But further to expand on that question or on that topic, these vaccines aren't preventing the transmission of the virus, and they aren't curing it. Based on these articles written about the vaccines and their own documentation, they are minimizing the severity of the symptoms, like a therapeutic, as this Twitter user has stated. So what's the point? And why are we on pace to push this vaccine out in quantities never before seen, shoveling money out of the taxpayer and just giving it to these large pharmaceutical companies? Why are we doing that? And another big question surrounding this is, if these vaccines are safe, especially with these emergency requests for bypassing the standard trial periods and things like that, if they're safe while avoiding the long-term trials, why are companies like AstraZeneca exempt from coronavirus vaccine claims in most countries? I think we all know the answer to that. I mean, it doesn't take much brain power to come to a conclusion there. They're exempt from liability for any sort of side effects caused by their vaccine, whether it's long-term, detriment to your quality of life or even death. You can't hold it against them. They have immunity. They have exemptions from liability. And this was written in July, actually, in Reuters. So that's just one part of the argument, is to say, okay, if it's safe, why do they need immunity? Why do they need to be exempt from liability? The other thing about this is, factor in this company that has immunity for potential side effects and consequences of a dangerous vaccine. I'm not saying that it is dangerous, but I'm saying if it were dangerous, they're not liable for what happens next. Factor in that AstraZeneca is the same company. Hold on, let me just pull it up. AstraZeneca is the same company that recently found themselves in turmoil because their vaccine studies were found to be full of errors, incorrect dosages, incorrect outcomes and conclusions of their research. And it says, this is in Time. AstraZeneca and Oxford University on Wednesday acknowledged a manufacturing error that is raising questions about preliminary results of their experimental COVID-19 vaccine. A statement describing the error came days after the company and the university described the shots as highly effective and made no mention of why some study participants didn't receive as much vaccine in the first of the 2 shots as expected. In a surprise, the group of volunteers that got a lower dose seemed to be much better protected than the volunteers who got 2 full doses. In the low-dose group, AstraZeneca said the vaccine appeared to be 90% effective. In the group that got the 2 full doses, the vaccine appeared to be 62% effective. So add 62 to the percentage of effectiveness. Combined, the drug makers said the vaccine appeared to be 70% effective. But the way in which the results were arrived at and reported by the companies has led to pointed questions from experts. They don't even know why they gave the wrong dosage. That should tell you a lot about the research and how thorough it is. How organized is it? I mean, it doesn't sound like it's very organized. It sounds like it's a crapshoot, and they're just pushing it through at an accelerated time frame because they want to, meet the demand, and be competitive against companies like Moderna and Pfizer and whatever other companies are out there pushing these drugs. But the other interesting thing is the people that got less of this vaccine did better than the people who got more of the vaccine, which goes back to the original question posed by that Twitter user. If our natural response and immune system is providing a better survival rate than the vaccine, why bother? Especially when the vaccine is only a therapeutic and not a cure and not a prophylactic. It's literally a therapeutic. Then also, you could also say the natural response in the trials for the patients that received less dose, it was probably more of their own immune system. And this is just speculation. I imagine it's more of their own immune system taking control because they received less of the vaccine and they did better, which some could say means that your immune system by itself is going to do a better job than flooding your body with these mysterious vaccines that may or may not be safe. I'm not saying they're unsafe. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not. I've received more vaccines than I can count. In the military, you walk down a line and they hit you with vaccine after vaccine and all kinds of different stuff. I've been hit with anthrax a million times. So I'm not opposed to vaccines. I am opposed to rushed medical treatments with no studies that can provide any information about long-term effects and what they may be. And then on top of that, that's those same producers of those medications receiving immunity, allowing them not to be held liable for nasty side effects of said medications or vaccines. I mean, it's a perfect storm that could very well leave a lot of people in a much worse situation than they're in now. Even with COVID still looming over us, the economy shut down, and many being unable to earn an income to provide for their family. It doesn't sound like this is going to solve the issue, and it may just compound the issue. So if you're considering getting this vaccine, I'm not going to tell you not to. That's your decision and your decision only. But all I ask is for the people that don't want to get a vaccine, if you know those people that aren't interested, don't hound them about it. Leave them be. Because if the vaccine truly works, then you get it. Then you're protected. And they don't want to get it, and they're not protected. That's, their body, their choice, right? That's what everyone likes to say, my body, my choice. So if that person doesn't want to get a vaccine, more power to them. If you want to get a vaccine, good for you. We're all good. But it shouldn't be forced down our throat. It shouldn't be mandated by the government. These companies shouldn't get immunity. These trials should be more thorough and well organized and less full of errors. And it's just another example of something that we are supposed to trust and put our faith in letting us down, much like the recent election, which is still ongoing. So with that said, everybody stay safe. If you get the vaccine, I pray for you. If you don't get the vaccine, I pray for you. And let's hope that this immunity by this drug company doesn't come back to haunt a lot of the American people searching for a way to pay for complications, and that they can't find any sort of reparations from these drug manufacturers. So with that said, this is Alex with LWS Update. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you haven't already, please do so. And please share the video so other people can see it. If you like this content, then spread it around so that more people get to see it, more people get to like it, and more people can recommend topics for us to cover. So anyways, we have another segment coming up later today about Biden, but not necessarily about him himself, but about public opinion of him from people who were prior to the election considered to be advocates for him, and now they seem to be rallying against him, or at least, you know, holding his feet to the fire about certain topics. So we'll cover that in a little bit later today. So just, you know, keep your eyes peeled. You should, if you're already subscribed, you'll get a notification, and we'll see you then. Thanks a lot.